I thought maybe one video was going to be enough, but unfortunately, many more game developers have now decided to voice their opinions and their happiness that Charlie Kirk has passed away. So, unfortunately, here I am again talking about this terrible situation. Because the industry does need to be held accountable and this hate needs to stop. And as you'll see from the exhausting amount of examples in this video, I have over 50 actually in this video alone, that the Western game industry is demanding more violence, more retribution, and they are not sorry about it one bit. Of course, as you likely know, the man who ended Charlie has been found, and this person has been linked to many far left-leaning ideologies and talking heads. We definitely have a serious problem here, but let's get into it. Firstly, to get it out of the way, to reiterate in case you didn't know, the Ghost of Yotei dev Drew Harrison has apparently been fired from their job at Sucker Punch for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I quickly added it to my latest video with tons of game devs before this one celebrating Kirk's demise, but here's this Drew Harrison again saying, "If standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, I would do it again 100 times stronger." So she's not sorry for what she did, and she's glad that he's gone, and again, this person worked on Ghost of Yotei. But since then, as of the making of this video anyway, Sucker Punch has not made any public announcements that they condemn anyone saying this about Charlie Kirk, which makes me think that they are probably protecting their developers who think this way and are hoping that the storm will just pass. Either way, I won't be buying Ghost of Yotei out of principle alone unless Sucker Punch comes out and condemns this behavior publicly. And they probably should, since allegedly their Yotei game has some of the lowest pre-order numbers of any first-party PlayStation Studios game, but I guess we'll see. With that out of the way, a user also DM'd Savvy, a friend of the channel, saying that they should buy Ghost of Yotei to show support against Charlie Kirk, which is, yes, insane. Here's the post Savvy made with this Ben Willits person. According to what I could find, this person is not a game developer. They are just a random individual, but here's what they said to Savvy in her DMs. "Your husband is pathetic for not buying Ghost of Yotei. Cool story, Ben. Still not going to buy it either way until Sucker Punch publicly announces that they denounce political violence." But now, let's get into this. Is a lot. Let's get into it. Let's get into Blizzard. Yeah, the World of Warcraft people who are celebrating like crazy that Kirk has died. This comes from a user named By Furious Sum, who compiled an exhausting list of names of Blizzard developers, so thank you to them. First, we have someone named Hazel Monfortin, that's possibly their name, but here's their Blue Sky profile either way. This Hazel person who works at Blizzard said, as we can see here at the top, Charlie Kirk died in the world he helped create. Hazel also retweeted many other examples, as you can see in this long list of people either joking about Kirk dying or joking about hiring an Etsy witch to curse the job market, because infamously a website made a joke that they hired Etsy witches to curse Kirk the day before he died, which, by the way, that Etsy joke is Hazel here saying that they want anyone who sides with Curse to pass away in order to clean up the job market, if you will, which is, yes, terrible. Then we come into this can of worms. We have Catherine M. Vellante, as seen here. This is her Blue Sky. She's an author who works with Blizzard writing World of Warcraft novels. Here's Catherine talking about Kirk's death in her tweet and celebrating his death, and as you can see at the bottom there with Andrew Tate, Catherine is alluding to how that healthcare CEO who was murdered last year, and she's gleefully happy, hoping that influencers that she dislikes face similar fates. So if there's any doubt here that this Catherine sharing fairy tales of Azeroth herself publicly, which she has written on, as you can see, I mean, you can actually see her name on the actual book cover itself, second in line after Garth Nix there at the bottom. Here's also another tweet by Catherine confirming that she has written plenty of stories for Blizzard and Warcraft. Again, this person is celebrating Kirk's death, which is terrible. Catherine then thought it was a good idea to go to her own personal Substack and write an entire article of her own free will on how she's happy that Charlie Kirk has passed away. She says, as seen here, "I got a lot of stuff to say about you know the F what that happened in Utah last night, and I am in no mood for the veritable army of suddenly oh so concerned. Both sides are bad, but really only one side tee-hee empathy demanders blanketing the internet today. Humans, bots, taking all bets. Oh, and the government has decided to start punishing people who make light of Kirk's death by whatever definition they dreamed about last night." So she's happy he's gone, she's celebrating it, and wrote an entire article about it, as as you can all see. Here's another part of her article where Catherine claims that Charlie Kirk didn't care about gun control, which led to his own demise, but that's a skewed way of looking at it. Now, in this video, I won't show the face or name of the person who ended Charlie, but I can talk about what has been discovered on this person's items that were found by the FBI. Firstly, this person was turned in by their own father. It was also revealed that this murderer had things like the 50-kilogram bomb button input, as seen here, from Helldivers 2 on their weapons that they used to end Charlie Kirk. As also seen here from BNO News, the fired casings of the killer had phrases like, "Hey fascist, catch," with Helldivers 2 input commands, as I said. "Oh Bella," which is a song phrase that is routinely played in Hassan Piker's Twitch streams that he uses to radicalize his leftist followers. And then some stupid meme stuff too, and this person was clearly radicalized by leftist ideologies, and then used the hate that they gained from pro-liberal echo chambers to enact this vengeance on a conservative voice. Of course, you had the usual suspects, as also seen here from Blue Sky, trying to claim that the person who did it was not a leftist. Despite blatantly having Hassan Piker words and ideologies on his belongings, they still won't admit it. But circling back to Catherine Vellante, the author of those World of Warcraft books, they said more openly, like this: "In this situation, it's more that you can't reason someone out of a position they were paid to reason others into, and flame me if you like, and I might be wrong, but look, between all of us, the left doesn't often do the lone gunman thing. The left does small groups arguing about theory so long and furiously we alienate each other into inaction, plus those sunglasses and that haircut, okay." The left actually does do the lone gunman thing quite often. How many, school shootings happened this year alone? And how many of those who did it were of a certain group that tends to lean which way that is enforced by the teachings of specifically liberals? Oh, right. All of them. Exactly. Catherine would also then say this: "So various right-wingers are calling for all Democrats to be arrested, getting reporters fired for being insufficiently mournful, and calling for lifetime social media bans. For wrong speak on Charlie Kirk, the only thing that stops this is if the shooter turns out to be the most conservative straight white boy ever. Except the person who did it was radicalized by people like Hassan Piker, someone the liberals have championed for radicalizing entire demographics like the Zoomers. A left-leaning talking head. Not exactly right. And then all Charlie wanted really was conversation. But the other side, due to that hateful rhetoric, didn't want to talk, and now it led to this. I really can't believe that these game developers or game-adjacent workers like Catherine here are like this. It's honestly disgusting." Here is also this Catherine retweeting this other user by saying no one is as excited about celebrating Charlie Kirk's death as MAGA. This right here, this feeds their need for victimhood and strengthens their unhinged hate for whatever group of people they want to pin the blame on. Huge win for them. That's what she said. So she's saying it's the right's fault and she has zero sympathy for Charlie Kirk passing away. Make of that what you will, but this lady is tied directly to Activision Blizzard. Here is also Catherine again laughing at Charlie Kirk where she said this: "Ha ha, you guys are so horny for empathy, you're not allowed to act 10% the way we do every day, lol checkmate libs. Isn't actually the gotcha the people who said empathy is a sin, of which Kirk was one, think it is, it would be cruel not to honor his wishes." As you can see, these people really do hate anyone who thinks differently than they are, and they are far, far too gone. But again, here's more of Catherine saying stuff even more. Much like anger not counting as an emotion where men express it, the right and the media doesn't count any action at all as political violence when they do it. Remind me again when a right-winger did a mass shooting compared to how many times the left has done it. The left dwarfs the right in that regard. And why are you even fighting this as an example, Catherine? Do you not realize how far gone you already are? Your job is to write books about magical elves and orcs, not exactly spewing your own politics about the real world. I would be genuinely amazed if Blizzard keeps this woman hired and working with them, considering how full of hate she is for their consumer base. Then we have Lee Knox Orsterga, who is a writer for Blizzard as well, as seen here, calling DC Comics weak for firing the writer of Red Hood and canceling the book for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I covered that in my previous video about this already. But also, Lee Knox also retweeted Roxanne Gay, who said this about the Red Hood cancellation, as you can read here. "It's an absolute shame that DC fired Gretchen Felker Martin for exercising free speech and the Blue Sky suspended her account. Every writer here should be decrying this because we have to stand up for each other. This is ridiculous." No, she celebrated a man dying. That is literally terrible. You would want the same if like a right-wing writer celebrated if a left-wing commentator died too. You would. And in the purple there, as seen here, this Knox person also worked alongside that Catherine Vellante lady from before on World of Warcraft stories. Birds of a feather flock together, I guess. Then we have Jared Gillis, a technical designer at Blizzard. who is also retweeting things glorifying Charlie Kirk's death. As seen here, Jared also retweeted the Red Hood thing, but also as seen here, as it says, just like we do not owe anyone forgiveness, we do not owe them mourning. Very nice of you, Jared, that you are happy that Charlie is gone. And here's also Jared retweeting people who are advocating for no one to continue Charlie Kirk's work and is seen below. And here's Jared Gillis retweeting the article about that website saying that they hired witches to curse Charlie Kirk the day before he passed away. So it's very clear what Jared Gillis believes here, and it's honestly sad to see. Then we have Matt Villers, a principal encounter designer on World of Warcraft. And it just keeps going. These people are so filled with hate, it's actually alarming. But here's Matt retweeting another who said politicians will be more mad about Charlie Kirk than Gaza. Of course, let's pull in another hot button political issue into the fold while we're at it, because that will definitely help the discourse. And here's also Matt Villers retweeting that America is fascist and how the violence is blamed on politics. And here's a bunch of stuff in one long line showing you even more examples of things that Matt Villers has retweeted, showing zero sympathy for Charlie Kirk as well. I'm still not done with Blizzard, by the way. Here's Nikki Crenshaw, who is an associate principal user researcher for Blizzard. Here's Nikki retweeting that Charlie Kirk had what was coming to him and there should be zero sympathy for it. In case you haven't noticed, these people are genuinely sociopaths who have zero love for anyone that they disagree with politically, but that's what was found on Blizzard's employees so far, which is understandably quite a lot. But with this in mind, I guess let me know in the comments if this changes things for you when it comes to World of Warcraft. But it's a mess either way. This then brings us unfortunately back to Square Enix and Catherine Kate Swinwar, who is a translator that works specifically on Final Fantasy XIV. In case you don't know, this Kate, as seen here, was very, very mad that people really didn't like the Wook Lamont character in Dawntrail, who she helped create, I guess, and Dawntrail then led to 14 losing a lot of subscribers already. And now Kate is running for the hills due to people exposing her, and she's clearly in fear of her job. She said this via Blue Sky. Regarding leaving Blue Sky, I'll try to find who I can elsewhere before I ultimately cannonball into the void. But mutuals are welcome to DM me for my Discord too, and she also said this next. Probably should have remembered to post this while the rest of the world was awake, but if you want to delete old posts to prevent trolls from crawling them, this tool is what I use. So yes, she is clearly running because she got caught. And man, doesn't even end there. Next we have the game Caravan Sandwich, who tweeted this today, and this is actually crazy, but here's what it reads. 1 year since the release of Caravan Sandwich, also a fascist got 360 no-scoped, what a week. One user would then reply, Mom, look at me, I'm advocating for the murder of free speech, and the studio behind this game, which is Dear Villagers, is here just saying, yeah, as they are happy that Kirk is gone and they want free speech to end. They also say, as seen here, no pride for fascists, LOL, get wrecked. I wonder if this game should then be allowed to even be sold on platforms like PlayStation or Nintendo. This is literally a studio as a whole claiming that they support political violence. If any user on PlayStation or Nintendo did this in their DMs or something else, they would get banned. So what's the difference? Who knows? Maybe this is just their social media manager, but words like this coming not from the like a personal developer, if you will, but a whole studio's account, no less, shows the politics of that whole studio then, if it was allowed to be shared like this. I really wouldn't be surprised if Sony or Nintendo removed the game from their storefronts, or Steam even. This is genuinely horrific. Like, imagine if a game studio, back in 2020, said, I don't know, George Floyd had it coming or something, right? That would be wrong of them to say. We all know that they would deplatform that game in that studio immediately, would they not? So how is this any different? They can't be serious. They're simply calling for violence. Why is there so much hate in the hearts of game developers? Has it always been like this? Is the West truly just full of activist, insane people from top to bottom? Then, as we can see here, Helldivers 2 has had their Reddit locked down after the shooter was discovered to have their terminologies written on the bullet casings that they had when they went after Charlie Kirk. This likely means that the FBI will now comb through all of Arrowhead's Discord chats, their Reddit, and more to find whether this radicalizing was started or even enforced by Arrowhead's own community. And if that were to happen, they're screwed. And if they then try to delete any evidence, it will only make things worse for them. So to say that Arrowhead and Helldivers is pretty screwed right now, that would be an understatement. These game communities need to be investigated. Even Square Enix's own Final Fantasy XIV community has people like this user named Bunny Brat, who I assume is their character in the game themselves. But anyway, as they said here from the second post from the top, he celebrated murder and insulted victims of police and gun violence. Glad he's not around to spew his filth. To use his own words, he was scum. His grave seems like a fitting toilet. Fascist sympathizers don't deserve humanity status either. At least guard your neck if you're going to talk out of it. And then this user also says below that, I'm glad he's gone and I hope anyone like him gets the same treatment, and I don't give an F how you feel about me when you sympathize with a dead fascist more than the people his rhetoric has harmed. Obviously, it's one example, but this sort of rhetoric is, rampant throughout gaming communities, not just this one. But here's another 14 user named Yesent claiming that Kirk deserved what he got. These people are just, they're so far gone, man. And why are they saying these things when your whole legal name, not to mention your credit cards, are also attached to your accounts here? Do they know that? Or this other user named Aviator Head, who also claims that Kirk had what was coming to him. Do these people really not understand that they're not exactly anonymous as much as they think they are right here? Like, this is your account on Square Enix that is tied directly to all of your personal information. Then we have a literal producer at Bethesda Studios whose username is Piddlebucket, who is celebrating Charlie Kirk passing too. As they say here, I'm feeling fancy, should I order fancy takeout for no reason? And then they post, as you can see, the crab meme where the crabs are all celebrating. Yeah, it's not subtle at all there. This Bethesda producer also retweeted someone saying, you are under no obligation to mourn the death of people who would have celebrated yours. And they also retweeted, they'll ask you to mourn the deaths they mourn and no others. They'll ask you to cherish the lives they cherish and no others. Literally not true at all. Charlie Kirk has made it abundantly clear that he wanted to bring people together, and that was the whole point. And what has only been proven here is that these game developers are absolute psychos. Even Stephen King had to apologize because he claimed that Charlie Kirk wanted to stone, as in, throw rocks at gay people. Well, that wasn't the case. Here's an actual tweet of what Charlie believed. I believe marriage is one man, one woman. Also, gay people should be welcomed in the conservative movement. As Christians, we are called to love everyone. I will always stand against people who wish to establish their own personal values as a reason to kick others out of our movement. While he had his politics, he was not pushing anyone out. In actuality, he was welcoming them in. You can't say the same about all of these people in this video, though. They just want blood. And now that they got it, they want more. And their hunger won't be satiated until every person that they hate is gone, like Charlie is forever right now. This game industry is so full of rot, it's honestly disgusting that these people are so unhinged, and I guarantee you that their hateful beliefs will sink into the very games that they create as well. You will absolutely, unfortunately, see more references to this in future games, even if it's just some words on a whiteboard in the background of a game. And maybe the producers or the game directors aren't made aware of it. It will still be there. And then these people will lose these companies' fans, money, and credibility, and the games that they worked on are now tainted. And now that we know that their beliefs are as hateful as they are, it makes it really hard to support any of the games these people are a part of. Frankly, I am just deeply concerned, but also deeply saddened by how vicious the Western game industry is when it comes to things like this. And I can really only hope that we can all heal and that you all do not take it upon yourselves to spread more hate. Even if they want you to, do not do it. Because it won't solve anything. It never does. We need to be steadfast and come together as a community to denounce these hateful individuals and prove that while the gaming space is, clearly full of rot, that we can still heal it. I love video games, and I just want this culture to heal because, man, it is so sick right now. But I thank you for being here and sitting through this exhaustingly huge list of examples with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.